Good morning and welcome to Inside Tennessee. I'm your moderator, John Becker. John North is hopefully working on a new open to our broadcast this morning, or at least having some Java somewhere good. It's great to have you back with us, back in the saddle this Sunday. Don Bosch, a Democrat and lawyer, next to me. Nice to have you. Good morning. Our other panelist, Susan Richardson-Williams. She's a Republican. Nice to see you.
We're happy to see you back in the land of the living.
It's nice to be back and out of one saddle and in another.
Yes.
And our guests this morning are leading our community in various ways. They are in charge of two bodies that control a big part of what goes on in our world. Andrew Roberto is a lawyer by trade and also vice mayor of the city of Knoxville. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Terry Hill is a social worker by trade, and she is the new leader of Knox County Commission, voted on that in the first part of September, September 1. So congratulations.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Let's start with you and what you think is the most important quality for the chair of Knox County Commission. This is a body of 11 people, and you are leading it now.
Compromise.
Can we send you to Washington?
No, probably not. But yeah, compromise and being able to listen well are real important in this job. Although I will say, as a commission, we do have a really good working body, and rarely is there a lot of tension that would involve a lot of finessing or negotiation.
Let's talk big picture with you as well, Vice Mayor. What do you think the most important role for you is as a leader in that body?
Well, I think what you got to be able to do is listen and be able to be communicative to your members. You got to hear what their needs are and be able to help, fill that for them. You're always constantly working on scheduling and trying to make sure everyone can deal with, the meetings that you're having. Making sure that you're, being fair about how things are being dealt with. One of the things that we've done here recently is make sure that when we're having workshop topics, that those topics are brought by all the members. And so it's not whether or not you're, the friend of the vice mayor or not. You can call them up and say, hey, here's what I'd like to do. Everyone gets to put in their topics, and then everyone votes on them, and we pick the top receiving votes, and then we schedule a workshop. So I think that's a level of fairness, but then just also being able to listen and understand what their needs are.
So that's the big picture from leadership of Knox County Commission and Knoxville City Council. Let's talk issues, because you're dealing with a lot right now, Susan.
Well, first thing I'd like to ask you before we talk about specifics is, do you set an agenda as chairman? I know the mayor obviously has an agenda, commission individual members do, but as chairman, are there things you want to accomplish? And I would ask you the same. Are they just the general things that come before commission and council?
The agenda is an input of several bodies within county government. They will all send to our commission office things that they want to be on the agenda for approval, whether it's roads, sheriff's department, health department, all of those things collectively. But then in addition to that, if commissioners have a specific item or topic that they would like to add for discussion, then that is at the discretion of the chair. But as I said, it's rarely a problem. It's always added to the agenda also.
Do you have anything specific you would like to accomplish, though, as chairman?
Oh, as chairwoman?
Right.
Chairperson.
Yeah. Chairperson.
Chair, I guess, now.
Our biggest challenge, one of our biggest challenges is certainly out in the county, is our roads and infrastructure, and we're always looking for better ways to manage that. Our governor was in town this morning, and he talked to all of us about the new transportation bill and the monies that was coming down. So being sure that we get our piece of the pie of that, and then once it comes to Knox County, that it's distributed out like we would all like to see it happen.
In our neighborhoods, right?
Yes, in our neighborhoods.
Well, what about you, Vice Mayor? Do you have a specific policy or an issue you would like to accomplish now that you are Vice Mayor?
Well, yeah, and I've been doing this for almost 2 years now. So, but with the I think the agenda, like your first part of your question was, the mayor really sets what the agenda looks like for us to deal with. But for all council members, whether you're in any position at all, you can bring your own resolution, or you can bring something to the body, and then you shop that around, potentially get co-sponsors, things like that. So there's an opportunity for everybody to deal with that. We have reports at the beginning of meetings, so you hear from folks about what they're interested in, things like that. But yeah, I think each individual, myself included, have things that they want to work on.
And what is yours?
Well, I think housing is a really big one right now, so we really are dealing with that. Also addressing mental health, and we've been working with our county partners and our state partners on having several workshops on mental health. So there's several things that I'd like to see continued on and want to continue to work on through the rest of my term.
So Andrew, you mentioned housing, and it's interesting because there's been so much focus on the need for low-income housing and transitional housing for the homeless and things, but there's been a recent push into both the economic side of government and the Mike Edwards' old organization, excuse me, I'm having a moment, but the Chamber, thank you. But for the middle class housing issue, would you explain that? Because I don't think a lot of people are very familiar with that right now, but the push that's going on from council to work on that.
And just specifically, Don, when you say middle class, what do you mean? Because some people have different definitions.
I know, and I certainly grew up what I thought and believed was middle class, with working parents, non-college educated. But folks in sometimes we've heard it called gray collar jobs, but good paying jobs that can afford homes, that can even sometimes afford to raise a family on one income versus both parents having to go out and work.
Are you thinking $50,000, $60,000, that median household income?
Unfortunately, I think it's a little higher than that now. I think it's more like $70,000 or $80,000 for a family of four. And before you get to there, I grew up in, $30,000 was a lot for a family of four. And
I think it's 61 in Knox County right now. Right. But I just wanted to get to that number.
And I think what you're referring to is the missing middle housing.
Right.
And that might be something that you'd see for folks in, working class jobs, maybe aspiring to be in middle class. But really what we're talking about with missing middle is duplexes, triplexes, townhomes, things like that, things that build in density. And so there is a lot of discussion right now about missing middle housing. Council will have a workshop later this month about missing middle. There's a proposal coming from the city administration. I think there is a role for missing middle to play in dealing with housing, but the reality is that that's not going to be the numbers we need to deal with the demand we have right now. The secret's out. Knoxville's a great place. We've got great quality of life. People want to come here, and they are. And that's driving up prices because we don't have enough supply. So what we really have to focus on is extending out our TIFs and pilots, our programs that can attract developers to do mixed use along the corridors. Council had set that in motion years ago when we were doing the update to the zoning code, but we've got to push that through now because that's the only place where we can really build up the kind of housing we're talking about for density.
We can continue this discussion and we'll move on to other topics. A quick break on Inside Tennessee, back with two leaders in Knox County and the city of Knoxville right after this.